Welcome to FC80 Studio 1900 for another edition of Mike on the Mic. I am Mike Ross, and I, along with our producer, David Mackley, a.k.a. Bosco, interview local movers, shakers, and policymakers about issues that matter to most of us, or at least some of us, and nothing is off limits. And maybe I could read this better if I could, but I'm not. I'm looking forward to today's edition. But before we meet today's guest, and we have three of them today, so this is going to be great, I am pleased to announce we have our sponsor, Blue Ridge Risk Partners, and Jeb Keller, our main man at Blue Ridge Risk Partners. So, Bosco, when you think of insurance, who do you think about?
Jeb Keller at Blue Ridge Risk Partners.
In that voice, okay. From captive insurance and alternative risk solutions for your business to health insurance for your family, Blue Ridge Risk Partners offers the products, expertise, and service of a top 10 insurance agency right here in Franklin County. You know what that means? They got to do better than this, seriously. And I'm going to tell you a reason. Jeb wrote it out. It's like there are 5,000 insurance agencies in Franklin County, and we're one of them. That's about what he said there, okay? We want them to be better than that. Friend of the podcast, Jeb Keller, is always happy to take your call. But in all seriousness, we at FCADC have been using Blue Ridge Risk Partners and their predecessors for the last 40 years, and we have got nothing but good things to say about them, and we actually like Jeb in spite of what you might think. So anyway, so with that, we've covered our obligatory sponsor report. By the way, if you're interested in being a sponsor, and after that announcement, you probably aren't. But if you are, we suggest that you contact our office and talk to David. Bosco would be happy to talk to you about sponsorship opportunities. He can be reached at 717-263-8282 or david@fcadc.com. And you too could have your sponsorship, which are just like First Start or Blue Ridge Partnership just did. What are they?
Can you speak?
Blue Ridge Risk Partners. I had them and First Start Partnership confused.
Yes.
All right. We done? All right. So today, this is going to be fun because we've had some success over the last couple of years in working with our major OEMs and trying to support their supply chain needs. And we've had some success with international companies locating in Franklin County. And today, we have one of those successful companies. This one is from Ireland, and we are very excited to have the representatives from Burnside America with us today. And we have Tony and Angi Morrissey and Paul Byrne, who are here representing the company. And first of all, I want to say welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's great to be here.
Paul, you might want to get more enthusiastic about being here. Okay.
I'll work on it.
So it's like this is like a hostage a bit. so anyway, but we're happy to have all three of you here. And what we want to do, because we want to, before we get started, and by the way, Burnside was recognized last year by FCADC at our Industry Appreciation Dinner as our Large Business of the Year, although here in Franklin County, they have roughly, 50 employees? In Tullow, Ireland, they have significantly more than that. And so that's what qualified them as a large business. But these are great people, and so we're going to get to know more about them. But before we start talking about Burnside, I want to find out from the three of you more about you. Angi, I'm going to start with you, because you're the only one that looks like you're from Ireland, and you're not.
I'm not. Lancaster County, born and raised.
Where at?
Manheim Township.
Manheim Township. What brought you to?
Huh?
What brought you here?
So I came for college. So I came to go to the university, and then I stayed. It was so lovely.
It is lovely, isn't it? It's a lot like Lancaster County, though, really.
It is. It's very similar. So it's
Yeah.
very rural, farm areas.
Oh, and when you say the university, that's be Shippensburg University? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we like our folks in Raider Nation. David's a graduate of Shippensburg
A
University.
bit before me.
So, and anyway, and Paul, you look like you could be from Path Valley. So and I'm looking at wrong guy, Paul. Tony, I'll get to you. You look like you're from Path Valley too.
Not quite. I'm from County Carlow in Ireland, so yeah, second smallest county in Ireland. Not much to know about the place other than that's where Burnside.
Yeah, but you come from a very, very interesting country though.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway,
I think
long history.
we had the opportunity to visit, and we saw a presentation, independent of yours. It was just coincidental at the time. The Secretary of Community and Economic Development from Pennsylvania was there and was giving a speech, and talked about the similarities between Pennsylvania and Ireland, and that they're the same size, okay, but there's more. But Ireland, in terms of from an immigration, there's more Irish folks spread across the United States and beyond, maybe than any other country.
Yeah, we get around.
Something like 80 million people claim Irish heritage around the world. So
Yes, it's impressive. So Tony, Paul is part of the family, and I screwed up. I thought both of you were part of the family. Then I find out he's hoping to be adopted.
Yeah.
Tony Morrissey's hoping that your family will adopt him.
I think I've put in my time now. So
No,
I had to put in a lot of time before. So ways to go.
so that's not very encouraging there, Tony. That you're going to get in. Okay. So, but anyway, but I'm going to go back to Paul here before I get to Tony. But you grew up, your family started Burnside, and this has been your life.
Yeah. So it was founded in 1974 by my father and his three brothers, and yeah, it's still to this day 100% family owned. A very large family. Most of them are still working in Burnside to some extent. And yeah, I'm the youngest of the second generation. I think Paddy, my father, realised he was running out cheap labour, so decided to have another son late in life. Child labour laws in Ireland are much more lax than they are here, so yeah, I've been kind of working in Burnside every weekend, summer holiday, school holiday since I was 8 or 9, so yeah, that's all I know.
That establishes a work ethic. When
Yeah.
you started 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yes. So Tony, what about you?
yeah, I grew up in Ireland on a dairy farm. So when people talk about the differences in the area, it's around here a lot of dairy farms and cornfields. So some things are similar. Gets a little bit hotter here during the summer, so I struggle with that. I think 80 degrees is about my max. So
Okay.
we're in the happy time of year right now. And I went to school with Paul. That's where I came across Burnside. We went to secondary school together. I think I met Paul's father, Paddy, the first time, bring us to the cinema or something to see Star Wars. And I remember I think Paul had said, maybe it was 12:15, and that was the start time for the movie. So Paddy had to wait for me in the Royal Oak for 15 or 20 minutes. So I didn't make a good first impression, but I managed to keep knocking on the door. I started working there as, I think it was summer jobs when I was probably 16 or 17. Cleaning old machines, painting old machines, painting fences, doing those sorts of jobs around the place, and eventually started working in production and worked my way up.
That's a message for a lot of young folks that you don't start at the top. You start and you prove your worth essentially, and you're doing oftentimes a lot of the jobs that no one else wants to do,
Yep.
but need to be done. So
Yeah, I think that, and in a small company, a relatively small company like Burnside, there's there's not that big a distance between. There's not that many layers of management in it as well, so you can kind of see the pathway to the top as well at times, even if they are mostly family members. But
so
still working on that.
So, Paul, let me go back. So, and let me give a little background, and then you can, all three of you can fill in. Burnside America is a manufacturer of hydraulic cylinders for companies like Volvo Construction Equipment, JLG, Toyota, and the like. But what started? How did your family decide they wanted to be manufacturers of hydraulic cylinders?
How long do you have? How long is the podcast? The short answer is, so Paddy, my father, he was working for a government-owned machinery manufacturer in Ireland. It was an offshoot of the sugar beet factory. And basically they were designing and building agricultural machines. It was a state-run, state-owned facility. He worked his way up. He was the chief engineer in that plant. Kind of realized he needed lots of cylinders. There wasn't really any support available in Ireland at the time. So he decided he was going to make cylinders at home. So he had the kids. They were more or less, the first series of kids, they were more or less reared at that age. So he needed something to do in his evenings. So he started a company in the garden shed making cylinders and making other bits of equipment that he needed in work. So, it's, Ireland, back in the 70s and 60s, it was more or less a third world country. It wasn't developed at all. It wasn't until, we joined the European Union and, that kind of brought Ireland on. Now it's a very successful country. We credit a lot of that to, the collaboration within the European Union and stuff. Paddy always used to tell me the story. It wasn't until 1987 that they got their first telephone in Burnside that could do international calls. Before that, they used to have to go into the post office to make calls to customers in Germany, and of course you couldn't tell the customers in Germany that's what you were doing. You had to act and go to the post office early and hold up the line and act like that was the...
That's remarkable. 1987.
Yeah, something like that in the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really... So my understanding of cylinder manufacturing, it takes a while to take it through the development and testing before it gets accepted by the OEMs. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's for a simple product, there's a pretty large barrier to entry, both in terms of knowledge and verification, validation, etc. But then also just the machinery and the people to run them and how to make them. What we said are the world's largest custom mass-produced commodity item. So to get treated the same as bolts, but a cylinder we make for JLG, that only goes on that specific JLG machine. It doesn't get used anywhere else in the world. So yeah, it's we're at it 54 years now, and we're still learning stuff every day.
That's great. So Angie, what triggered your interest in manufacturing?
So I was doing online advertising for many years, and when that came to an end, it put me in a position to figure out what I really wanted to do in life, what I really enjoyed.
You were there for the .com boom
Yeah, well,
in Harrisburg.
and then it didn't boom. But so it gave me the opportunity, and I realized that I really had a passion for project management. In a previous life, I had been stopping off at JLG to drop off checks when I worked at the staffing agency, and had loved the people there and got the opportunity to work there doing project management. And I loved the aspect of manufacturing. I love working with people. So getting to go out on the lines and talk to people and understand people. And I think, in project management, that's huge. You need to see both sides of it, the engineering side as well as the application, to be able to kind of forge that relationship. So it was great to be able to go out and meet them and see how things came together and have that understanding. So it really did, kind of breathe that curiosity and that passion. That's
great. No, because you've been very passionate about it, especially from, and just as an aside for everyone, when we have conversations with Angie, there's nothing cryptic. She says exactly what she thinks, and you deal with it. So that's the way it is. So, and which we appreciate. And you've been very
Sometimes.
honest. No, you've been very honest in your assessment of issues like workforce development and what could be done, and how some of our partners could maybe do some things differently and to
Yeah,
be
and
more
I think that comes
effective.
from like my passion for, wanting to fill needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think this is a great area. I think there are great people in this area, and, being able to better develop those people to see them improve their life, their lifestyle, their income, their skill sets, and kind of struggling to find that is, yeah.
No, that's good. So Tony, with you, you said you met Paul and you guys went to school together, and you were able to get a job. But so because sometimes you can start this and say, well, this is not for me. When did you realize that you had a passion for manufacturing as well?
Yeah, I think I enjoy the kind of the structure of it, the repeatability of it, the processes. But I think really when I got to start working on the CNC machines, the computer numerical control machines, setting up and programming those, that was where I really found a passion early on in years. And then as well as that, robots, setting up programming robots, I really enjoyed that. And then I started supervising as well, and found actually I enjoy teaching and training other people how to do those jobs as well. So it kind of really, as a second shift supervisor was the start of it, and then production management then when I came over here. So it's kind of a natural progression, but it definitely started with the machinery and the mechanics of it, which was what I was passionate about, which is why Angie compliments it well, because she really enjoys the people aspect of it. So
No, that's great. That's great. So, and we're happy that you're here. And Paul, you started to give a little history of the company in Ireland. And what made you to look at the United States as a potential location, and specifically why Chambersburg?
So for the U.S. in general, it's a huge market for cylinders. It's a relatively untapped market for Burnside. Some of the biggest OEMs in the world are here. They're American. The likes of Caterpillar, John Deere. But yeah, in terms of Franklin County, the biggest driving factor was JLG. So one of the kind of the core values that Burnside offers to our customers is flexibility. It's very hard to be flexible for your customer when you're located 4,000 miles away. So we set up operations here in 2014 to try and better support JLG and offer them the same flexibility we offer our customers back in Europe. And, by flexibility, I mean short lead times, quick response if there's an issue, on the ground support if you're developing a new product or machine, just whatever the customer needs. So yeah, that was the big driving point. And then secondary to that, it's a very advantageous geographical location. You've got lots of airports close by. Mm-hmm. There's daily flights from Ireland into Washington Dulles. So it's very quick and easy for going back to Ireland for ourselves, or getting people support from Ireland here. You're right on the I-81, I-76 corridor. Despite the increase in traffic and the frustration that causes from a business point of view, it's very attractive and a big part of our success. And then also the area itself. It's like Tony said, it's quite similar to Ireland. It's a beautiful area. You've got surrounded by mountains, hills, forests. There's no great weather extremes. So yeah, really all around, it's kind of a perfect spot.
We're going to have to capture that. That's right there. Yeah, so we don't have to do anything else.
I was waiting for you to tell
royalty.
him that 81 wasn't going to be expanded anytime.
No,
soon.
it's not. Well, no, it's not. It's not going to be. So get used to the traffic. It's not going to get expanded.
that's why we're late getting here, by the way. It's traffic on
It's a
81.
mess every day.
We're on the wrong side.
No, but so when you guys got here, you bought a 30,000 square foot building, or 35, something like that, out on Coffee Avenue, which right at the entrance of, for those who aren't familiar with the Cumberland Valley Business Park, as soon as you make the turn into the Letterkenny Army Depot, Burnside will be the first building you'll see on your left on
Right.
Coffee Avenue. And you guys just did a 30,000 square foot expansion. So what drove that? Any of you?
I guess it's customer driven. So
Okay.
much of what Burnside does, it's planning for the future with their customers. So we had f- by being here locally or more local, we had one new business with some large forklift manufacturers, and they had committed to us that if we performed well, there would be more business coming down the line. So in order to satisfy that, we had to build a whole new factory, whole new production line, and staff it and run it. So it's,
So how's that working out?
Yeah, so far it's been pretty terrific. Yeah, I mean we've had almost monthly visits from the major OEM that we built it for, and yeah, they've been very happy. We've had pretty much 100% on-time delivery, managing stuff that has incredible variety and mix on a 6-7 day lead time. So yeah, it's worked out so far.
That's great. Just as a side, one of the things when you say that your OEM makes monthly visits in here, and I think that oftentimes gets so underappreciated by not only with Burnside but other companies and manufacturers in particular, the impact that you have on the tourism and travel industry. That folks are coming in here to visit from out of the area. They're staying in our hotels. They're eating in our restaurants and the like. And that's just to have that steady flow of outsiders coming in and they get exposed to the area as well. So we appreciate that. So Angie, from your standpoint, tell us about the labor force and what the challenges you see in both recruiting, retention, and training. That's a big one.
Yeah, so I think, and you highlighted it a lot, that we have a lot of industry coming in and there's only a certain amount of people in the area, right? We're very fortunate to have a great partnership with the Career Tech in Franklin County with students who are looking to come into this industry, whether it be through an ag mechanics program or a weld program, machining technology. So it's been a great pipeline for us to get students in and into the field that they're looking to join, get them that experience, make sure it's what the field that they want, and then most times we have that permanent position to offer to them once they finish their co-op. So it's been great for us because we know that person really wants to be in that industry, so it's what they're looking for, and that really helps us with retention as well.
No, that's great. So talk a little bit because I think, and I know at least at one point, you have a high percentage of females in your workforce. And I think more than what most of us, our perception of manufacturing, it's men and it's predominantly men, and it's very labor intensive and physically challenging. But you have a lot of females who have adapted very well.
Yeah, we do. And that's something that's really cool about the Career Tech as well. You walk into their weld program, and there are so many women in that weld program, which is great to see. So we're happy to, take on, welders and train them up and, have them work for us. We've seen some of the other programs start to see a lot of female applicants as well, which has been fantastic. Machining, as well as ag mechanics. So no, it's been a great introduction and been a great mix of people that really you see different perspectives. But I think that's also what's really great about the Career Tech is you've got kids from Path Valley, and you've got kids from Waynesboro, and you've got kids from Greencastle.
Right.
So they all bring very different perspectives to a work environment, and it's really neat to see them all interact in a way that they wouldn't normally. And work together really well.
No, that's great, and I think that to your point, I think the Career Tech has done a really good job of preparing young people. But that's having said that, how has you mentioned the tightness of the labor market, and one of the challenges ongoing is we are a haven for warehouse and distribution projects anymore, and a lot of those are labor intensive. How have you compensated for in terms of not just financially compensated, but what have you done to try to, from a retention standpoint, to be able to keep your folks and to be able to recruit in the wake of some of these other facilities coming in and gobbling up lots of people?
Yeah, I think it's just really the environment. I think people enjoy working together and enjoy the job they're doing. We're able to offer a schedule that's, an easy schedule for most people. There isn't a whole lot of overtime that's mandated. It's never mandated at this point. So that gives them a little bit of, a firm schedule as opposed to these warehouses that are very seasonal a lot of times. And that's very hard, especially, if you've got children and small children, it's hard to work around those schedules. I won't go into your daycare spiel, but we don't have that childcare availability all the time. So having a firm schedule, having a predictable schedule is great for people. But again, I think they all really like working with each other for the most part, which is great.
That's good. Well, you build a corporate culture and people want to be there. That's the goal. I see that at a number of, JLG is building that corporate culture. Volvo's done similar things. So and I think that's really the catalyst of being able to keep folks. So again, this is to all three of you. Please all comment. What do you see the biggest challenges facing small businesses? And even though you qualify as a large business here, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you're not the size of a JLG. You're not the size of a Manitowoc. So what do you see as the biggest challenges facing small businesses?
Where do you start?
I'll at least start. I think there's a lot. We can go into, the supply chain issues and the logistics issues and all that kind of fun stuff. But, back to your Blue Ridge Summit plug, insurance.
Or lack thereof. Yeah.
But I think we struggle, with keeping our costs down because we want to provide the best compensation to be competitive. Insurance is really hard for small businesses. We don't get a great rate. So we don't get the JLG rate. We don't get the Volvo rate. So it's a big expense for us. But it's one that we need to provide, and we want to be able to provide as best possible. Yeah,
and for a company coming from Ireland, it's not even something you're aware of when you come over here that it would be important to people. Sure, you've heard stories about the medical industry and health insurance in America, but till you're here and you really see how offering good benefits, it's almost a way to lock people into working for you. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult for people to change jobs and move jobs if they're afraid of losing those benefits. So for a small business, like Angie said, it's a big cost that maybe you hadn't planned for initially. And then it's expensive relative to some of the bigger players, and it really hits your books hard. But as we've spent the last few years, for the first few years, we didn't offer health insurance. We didn't have enough people, but we knew long term that's something we were going to have to do. So we got it started, and each year we try and offer it slightly better. And now we're starting to see, every time someone comes in and tells us, "Oh, I'm going to get this medical procedure I've been holding off on because I never had health insurance." It's nice to know that they're doing it because great. You're offering that health insurance. So, but yeah, it's definitely difficult for small businesses. It's a big impediment to being able to hire and attract people in the area. Is how good the benefits you're able to offer.
We want to share this with our legislators too.
100%.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of on the broader macro level, the ever-changing tariff landscape is huge issue. It creates so much uncertainty, creates so much extra work and admin for everyone involved across all parts of the supply chain, not just for us. I was at one of the large market shows for us in Las Vegas last month, ConExpo. It was the same sentiment from everyone. People they don't know what they're going to do. You can say everything needs to be built in the USA, which is great. We try and do that wherever we can. But ultimately, people want the most competitive offer based on price and quality. That doesn't always lead you to buy everything in the US. So yeah, it's just 2 weeks ago the tariffs changed again. We have to redo everything. We have to redo all these agreements with all of our customers for every part number. And again, because we try and be very fair and transparent and flexible with our customers. We have to update, dozens of documents and files, and then it's just an unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know if the president understands how that affects folks. You can't. I mean, it's one thing to set tariffs and say, okay, this is what it's going to be. We can't keep changing them.
But it's hard to really understand the real world impact of it on the ground. For a company like Burnside, we import a lot of the material, the raw material that we then convert into finished cylinders. So we're doing the bulk of the physical work, that employs people is happening here in Chambersburg. But a lot of our material comes from overseas. So a small company like Burnside, it only has a handful of people working in the office. We have to deal with those changing rates from all across the world. We have suppliers in India, Korea, Europe, different rates for different companies at different times. And then Burnside is the company that pays those tariffs. Nobody else is, we're the ones that we get the bill directly from Customs and Border Protection. That comes directly to us and we pay them directly. And then we have to try, have to negotiate with our customers on, what's a fair and even way of passing that on. But, for anyone who's concerned about who's paying the tariffs, they're being paid by companies in America. Nobody else is paying those tariffs. Those are people like us on the ground here in Chambersburg who are, and they're significant tariffs as well. It's I think last year might have been close to the size of our wage bill. So we would have paid as much in wages as we paid in tariffs. Now, hopefully we'll be able to share that and pass it on with our customers in an even way, and effectively it won't cost us much except that administrative work, which is also a huge burden on a small company, like trying to track and manage all those changes. And just when you have them settled out and they're starting to, you're up and running now, so it's not as much. Then every time they change, it's like doing it from all scratch again. Now we've refunds.
I don't know how you do it because it seems overwhelming.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Seriously, and especially for a small company. I mean, you get the larger companies; they have more folks that they can allocate specifically to that. But you have other responsibilities you're trying to take care of, and you just don't simply have the resources to be able to. I don't know how you're doing it.
There'll be a psychological condition discovered in a few years. It'll be tariff burnout.
You'll be looking at those healthcare benefits for therapy.
Yeah.
So one of the other, how do you, again, going back to a workforce question, given the fact you started when you're 8 or 9 years old, you came off a farm and you were working probably since you were 8 or 9 years old and moved in, and I know your work ethic. So how do you evaluate, or what's your take on the work ethic of a lot of our entry level, most recent high school and college graduates? And I know you'll be very honest about it.
Right, yeah, well. No, I think, it ranges, just like it does with,
Okay. That's
40-year-olds. When we go to hire somebody, I can't always judge what that work ethic is going to be. And it's probably the same rate of hit or miss, regardless of your age. Okay. I think there are some students who come out who are just hungry, and it is awesome. And there are some who just don't know what they want to do, so they don't have that passion or that drive necessarily just yet. And again, same with 40-year-olds. I can have somebody walk in the door who says, "Yeah, I want to go do this," and then they get there and they're like, "I don't want to do this," But for the most part, again, I think it's really cool to see the kids who have that passion for these and who chose to go into these professions. Because it's something that interests them for the most part. So we do have a lot of success with them because of that. And there's always going to be maturity, right? Mm-hmm. We all weren't as mature as we are now when we were 17 and 18.
It's absolutely the case.
We were not making the best choices all the time. Okay, maybe some of us were making better choices than others.
Shifted my seat.
But yeah, and that's also the fun part, is seeing them grow, being surrounded by people who have a bit more maturity and seeing them grow into that, and the mentorship that occurs between some of the more seasoned employees with some of the younger ones.
But yeah, I mean, most of our, the biggest percentage of our workforce is younger, is that generation that maybe people are complaining about that doesn't have the work ethic or doesn't have the aptitude, but they're at Burnside doing a great job. Yeah. They're the ones that are making the cylinders, and so I think it's there's a part of every generation complains about the next generation. That's just
That goes back to Jesus. I mean, seriously, they're out there saying, I mean, really, the kid can do more than just preach. Okay, maybe we need him to do more of the woodworking stuff.
I think
So,
some of what's probably changed is I think from an economic point of view is a lot of people have more choices than they did once upon a time. Once upon a time, and it's especially true in Ireland as well, you were lucky to get a job somewhere, and you were just lucky to have that job, and just having that job, that was basically all the perks you needed. Nowadays, people have much more choice about where they can go, what they can do, and it's not good enough anymore just to tell someone, well, you're lucky to have that job, because in essence, they're not lucky to have it anymore. You're lucky to have them.
Right.
And that companies, I think, need to adapt to that change in landscape that we're all operating in now.
That's a great point, because there was a time here where the standard line was, you should be happy to have that job because there's 8 other people in line that would like to have that job. And to your point, that has changed dramatically. Just as an aside, and this speaks to I think the when we talk about every successive generation is worse than the previous one. That said, if you go to a U.S. aircraft carrier, they may have 5,000 people in it. Average age is like 23. Okay, so and they are all highly trained. They are very capable, and they are our main line of defense. And but they do it exceptionally well. So there's this notion that young people are somehow miss the mark somewhere. And to your point, every generation have people miss the mark. And others who, and we all have recollections of going back that somehow we all walked uphill to school and then walked uphill to go home from school. It was harder for us. But I think that, I think so. But again, a lot of it's corporate culture. So we appreciate that and what you're doing. So aside from the tariffs, and hopefully that gets settled, how do you see 2026 and beyond for Burnside?
Yeah, hopefully a lot more of the same. I think we offer something pretty unique here in the U.S. The Irish approach to business is quite laid back and different. It's probably not as much about business. It's more about just relationships and getting the job done. Everything else maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm bad at doing all the paperwork and stuff, and I don't like it. But yeah, the most important thing for us is just the success of not just our customer, but our customers' end user. Make sure they're operating a forklift or a JLG lift in a safe and efficient manner. And I think that's quite unique. We kind of try and do what's right all the time. That was one of the key deciding factors as to why one of our new customers went with us, and it kind of stuck with me when they said it to me. It's something you don't think about, but the fact that people notice it and say it to you, and it wins you a large contract, it's important to do the right thing, even if it costs you money or anything like that. Continued growth. We have our eyes on another 30,000 square foot expansion once we have the need, build it, and maybe it'll be a kind of a cylinder field of dreams. You build it and they'll come. So
No, that'd be great. Well, we appreciate all that you and your family and Angie and Tony, what you guys have brought to this area, and we are absolute cheerleaders for you and want to be as helpful as we can. And one of the great experiences for David and I was being able to visit your Irish facility, and to your point about you're laid back, your family is incredibly hospitable. So we appreciated that, and still do. But no, huh?
Which one of them did you meet?
We met Caroline and
oh, yeah, okay.
well, most of them are not, but got a chance to see your Irish production facilities and so on, and it's absolutely impressive what you've been able to build over the last 57 years. So So we're going to, because I'm looking at the clock, and we're going to have to bring this to a conclusion. But before we do, okay, I have to ask you, because Ireland's produced some rock and roll guys. Who do you think is the best rock and roller to come out of Ireland? Now, you all three are going to get a chance, even though you're from Lancaster.
Yeah, sure. I suppose
That was a Tony question.
probably U2. I guess they're the biggest one.
Are they the best? Do you ever listen to Kilkenny's?
No.
Oh, I like those guys. I like those guys. Do you even know about them?
No. There's a Kilkenny beer.
No, there's a
Related.
Kilkenny band.
Oh,
They're
Were they
like,
at
they're
the
like
Ren Fair?
They're like a folk band.
We found the
Yeah.
Irish bands that are popular over here typically are not very popular in Ireland, and do a great job for themselves over here. But yeah,
Well, I think these guys are mostly in Ireland, so maybe they're not doing so well over
Saw
there.
Doctors are probably the only exception. Saw Doctors are popular in Ireland, and they always tour over here. They're pretty good.
So who do you think is?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough question. What you put in?
No. I'm gonna throw in Van Morrison.
That's what I was going to say.
He-
Why you
yeah,
put in
no, he-
Northern Ireland?
Yeah, he's
for
good.
the
Yeah,
Cranberries?
Cranberries.
That's another good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
Some big hits.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran claims he's Irish.
Yeah, we'll
be
we'll
fair,
claim
yeah.
we'll claim we'll take him.
Take 'em.
Yeah. If he could have played soccer, he'd be playing
Oh,
for
yeah.
us. And
They've taken enough of ours.
So do you guys like the English?
I mean, yeah, I went to college in England, so we like to kind of have a friendly rivalry, remind them of all the things they've done over the couple of centuries.
but it's important we're able to joke about it now in a lot of circles. So it's
Is St. Patrick's Day as big a deal in Ireland as it is here?
Probably not as big. The only exception is it's a bank holiday in Ireland, so we actually have the day off work. So
Which just recently.
no, that was
Oh.
St. Bridget's Day was the new
Oh, that was the new one. Okay.
one. But yeah, St. Patrick's Day has always been a good day to celebrate St. Patrick.
So like what are the Irish holidays that you guys are off like St. Patrick's Day and Christmas or what?
They have like
We
a
just-
Monday every month.
We just call them
Monday every month.
Yeah.
just call them bank holidays. We didn't typically have
They
another
don't-
name for them.
Yeah, they don't
So
name them.
I'm not sure why we call them bank holidays because banks in Ireland are closed on Saturday and Sunday anyway. So
every time you want to go to the bank, it's closed.
yeah,
But yeah,
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day is the big one. It's our most profitable export, I'd say, especially over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't dye rivers green and stuff.
Yeah, but you guys got Guinness
There's a parade.
and Jameson.
oh yeah, there's parades all around Ireland for St. Patrick's Day. With even in small towns and villages, a lot of them will have parades and a lot of tractors going through town with hay bales and
Okay.
kids on the back, and the local truck drivers and things like that. So
So listen to the Kilkenny sometime. And tell you got. I thought they were pretty good.
we'll have to try.
Yeah, you'll have to.
Follow-up podcast right there.
Yeah,
There you go.
Paul and I are absolutely not music buffs, so
Okay.
If I have a musical bone in my body, it's broken.
Well, I don't either, but I listened to it.
We're gonna go see an Irish guy on Friday.
Who's that?
Pat Byrne, not related to Paul.
Okay.
You sure?
He's from Burst.
he's the Burrs Burns.
Oh,
Byrne is a popular surname in Carlow, so.
yeah.
But yeah, Pat Byrne was someone that he went to school nearby me, friends of friends, and I think he's been living in Texas now the last few years. So
Okay.
he's touring around and he's playing in Maryland.
The Maryland Theater.
No, it's a small little artsy venue.
Yeah.
But seems to be
So shout out for Pat Byrne on
right. Totally.
Somewhere in Maryland.
somewhere.
So-
on Friday we think.
Yeah, no,
All
on
right.
Friday.
No. So anyway, but I want to thank all three of you for coming in today, and hopefully everybody has a far greater appreciation for Burnside America and what you're doing. We absolutely appreciate what you're doing here at FCADC, but both challenges and opportunities that are facing small businesses in general as we navigate in a new world. It's a new world, really, with the tariff situation and the like. So, but thank you all, Tony, Angie, Paul. Thank you for being a part of this today, and for those out there. I have to wrap this up, right, Bosco?
Yes.
All right. So, Bosco, who's your favorite insurance man?
Grab this mic. That would be Jeb Keller, Blue Ridge Risk Partners.
Yeah, we like him too. And so,
Well, I hope we.
so and Jeb has been like really good providing insurance here at FCADC through Blue Ridge Risk Partners. And so if you're out there looking for an insurance carrier, call Blue Ridge Risk Partners, and Jeb will be happy to talk to you. And if you, whoever you are, want to be a sponsor of this podcast, please contact Bosco at 717-263-8282 or David at fcadc.com. And based on the responses we get, it would suggest that our phone is not connected or our internet is not connected, but they are. So please reach out and talk to us. And if you like this, we appreciate it. And I do know, and he's one of our favorite listeners. I want to start giving a weekly shout out to Elliot Salkove at Black and Davison, because he wants us to do 2 of these a week. We can't do one every 2 weeks. But Elliot, thank you for listening. And
Well, hold on. Tell Elliot if he'd like us to increase our production capability, maybe that would be a great opportunity for Black and Davison to provide a sponsorship.
now you're talking.
You know somebody that works there, too.
I do. And don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube.